Good afternoon, Paul. Hey, Drinny. There's not many two people on at the minute, so I'm not going to say too much until people are watching. Just going to do usual setup, same as what we do every single day. Just making sure the banner's working. Hopefully that's going to be better now. Hopefully that'll do there. That looks a bit better. Good. Right, where are we? We are Scandinavian today. Got Copenhagen's scenery. Can't remember who does it. It's MK Studios, somebody. It's pretty good scenery though. It's pretty realistic. I guess this is static aircraft. I saw this and I thought, I've got proper liveries and all sorts of things, which I don't have AIG or anything installed yet. I was wondering why this looks quite good, but it's obviously static. Anyway, let's get set up. So yeah, Tivat's another Catzy airfield's always good to think about. Lots of things to think about, should I say. It's a decent length runway, I think. I don't think there's any restrictions. In terms of regulated weights, 2,500 metres, yes, that should be fine. So weights all should be good. I think the weather's good. Let's have a look. Tivat 280 at 4. Slight winds, good visibility, no clouds, nothing significant. So yeah, nothing wrong with Tivat. Dubrovnik's just up the road. That can be the alternate. That's reasonably good as well. And then we've got Split further up the coast, Tirana, down in Albania, that's all looking good, and Brindisi. So that's fine. CB's tempo. Yeah. Can't see anything out the window, to be fair. Not that I can see much out the window. So weather there's fine, on routes I think fine. Again, Europe's generally good, CB's around the Alps again, that's as usual. There's been a lot of thunderstorms actually been flying the last few days, and yeah, thunderstorms have been really busy. So it's been quite interesting. It's been interesting views out the flight deck, that's for sure. Morning, Crumpets. Looking forward to GSX. To be honest, I've not even looked at that, to be honest. Yes, I suppose to a degree. What's GSX going to give me that I don't already have, really? It's just another program that's probably going to eat the frames, isn't it? So anyway, in terms of fuel, again, we know the aircraft burns a lot less than what the sort of flight plans predict, so without any problems, 2-2 right, yeah, that's good. So even if we're on the other end, 8-2 is going to be more than enough fuel. What time we due out on the hour? I think this is a turnaround state as well, just assuming the aircraft's just coming from Heathrow or somewhere else, I don't know. So it's all not quite set up, but it's not quite cold and dark. Mass and balance, that's what I wanted to do. Scandinavian, yeah, I'm sure they board more than half an hour. So a decent load, 159 passengers, that's nice. 8.2. Get that on, a bit of cargo, load aircrafts. All time, yeah. So that's started. Overhead's all looking good. Everything's normal there. Everything downstairs is looking good. Let's have a look at the charts. Flight plan, what was it? SIG or something there. CIMIG. CIMIG is 8 Charlie, that's what I need. Port. Castrop. Grounds. Airports. Stands. So we're parked on Charlie 34, which is just here, so a really short taxi to the 2-2 right. So just across the secondary runway, ready down Alpha. So that's pretty easy to get to. departure is... what did I say, 6 something? Possibly that one. That's 04. Two rights, Simeg. So yeah, that's probably it. Alright, keep you. Approach and be back in for 22 left if we need to do that. So that's done. Is it true that ground control needs to be turned on pre-flight for the flight recorders to work since engines are started? Yes, it is. Yeah, you're talking about this one here, aren't you? So the where are we? Yeah, ground control. So yeah, technically it's been part of the SOPs. I think you turn it on prior to engine starts. So the CVR isn't effectively powered until the engines come online. So yeah, I mean technically you turn that on so it powers up the CVR. So any sort of conversation on the ground before the engine starts is picked up. You know, I would say in reality this is, you know, maybe done 50% of the time. It's certainly not turned on in the ground the minute you turn up to the flight deck. You know, I just don't think people really bother too much. And I can't remember exactly in the SOPs where it comes, but yeah, that is true. Anyway, let's have a look. Get it sorted. Oh god. There we go. It's just my mouse. Init page, init request. It didn't load the flight plan last time I did this. I don't know why. One of the flights had to... When I did the... oh, there you go. When I did the engine out video the other day, it didn't load the flight plan that I'd sort of put through SimBrief. I don't know why it's done it today, so it's not too bad. Anyway, SAS. Oh god, I need to write these numbers down. Keep forgetting who we are. Oh, is it 2673? It's not enforced. It's probably one of the most common things that's not done, Crumpet, to be fair, which I don't know, you know, you could probably argue is not really good enough, but there we go. Cost index of 4. Cost index probably a little bit higher for Scandinavian, to be honest. Every reason 12 or 8, I can't quite remember. That's done. That's probably good enough when downloaded. What's the weather? This is the thing which I don't know, you may notice. There's probably some things which you think, oh, that's SOP, but you never actually see me do it, and it's probably true. It probably is SOP, but as with the real world, you don't always follow. Don't say you follow the SOPs. Do follow the SOPs, but you don't always follow the flows, the cockpit preparation setup. You know, absolutely to the letter. So, hey Dan, 261012. 6. What was the cruise? 37 at minus 55. So that's done, that's done. What's the... So fuel weights. So 58.8. 58.8. 30 will do for you. Forget load sheet. What's the alternate? Alternate's about 1.2. Get this in. Departure 22 right. Simeg 8 Charlie, that looks correct. Go wait. I'm not going to be too interested in the arrival just yet. What do we got? Localizer. A few options. Localizer Zulu, probably at the minute. We can look at that once we're in the air. And a Pod 1 Delta. Hey Christian. That's done. I shall just tidy all this up once we get going. No major rush to do that. 125 miles, flight plan says 933, so yeah, it's pretty close, that's fine. Radnav's CDP, I think that's the holding point for the engine out, so I'll put that in. We are in Copenhagen, we'll come back here if we need to left. Perfect, come back to in a minute. Fuel, so that's... Have we aligned the RSs? Yes we have, this should work. I don't know why the RSs need to align for this to work, but there we go. Do you mind posting the OFB link? Yes. How do I do that? Hang on, stand by, Christian. Because I've got the stream on the YouTube. I can probably do it on the computer, can't I? Because that's there. Out, 1 second. That's... So you wanted a link. How do I get a link? We'll do that. We'll do that. Copy that. And then... Oh, so I can't put things in... So how do I put things in the chat? Hang on 1 second, I could do it another way. We open up the video, the stream. There we go, open that up. This should open up the chats. Do that, do that. Copy that. And then... Oh, so I can't put things in... So how do I put things in the chat bit? Right, good, hopefully that's worked. Going back and forth between multiple things. The other thing, let me know if these sounds... Should I turn the sound down a bit? I know you said it was a little bit difficult. Let me just turn it down another decibel. Or a bit. I'm just turning the sim sounds down just a tiny bit more, because I think that might just... it might be able to hear me a little bit better. Right, anyway, back to this. What do you say? So 8.4... so you want about 8.2, so that's interesting. And again, I don't know why the trip fuel and the time's not populating. You know, this should automatically populate once all the data's in. Once you've got the unit page sorted and all the data, so fuel weight, all your flight plans, everything else. Once you do a fuel calculation, it should automatically. I mean, this is basically a gross error check. So when you do this and press the fuel plan in, it's sort of confirming that you've got a sensible block fuel, and this will calculate based on the route you've got in. So you know, we sort of then cross-reference the trip and the time to the OFP to make sure it's sensible, but it doesn't do that. So I'm guessing it's a block of the Phoenix, maybe. Anyway, we put 8.2 in. That's what we're taking. What's contingency? Just 300. So yeah, that's right. Anyway, well, now it does. So I shouldn't have to put this in for this to do this. It should automatically do this. But 5.82 hours and 14 minutes, which is a little bit more than that, but again, we know the sim burns a little bit less than what the flight plan is, so I'm sure by the time we get airborne there's going to be a bit of extra time. Which really cats the airfield, I suppose. You know, typically you should be taking more fuel, shouldn't you? Which, should I do that? I might do that, actually. So it's 8.2. So a last minute change of heart. Let's take another ton, because I've got no confidence in myself whatsoever. So how can we update the fuel? Oh, do you know what? So I don't know, it'll be fine. It's just too much of a hassle to faff around with. 8.2 is going to be fine, I'm sure. I have faith. I have faith in my abilities. So that's done. Perfect. Come back to secondary. Right. So yeah, does anybody remember the emergency procedures for Copenhagen? I think I do. It's standard. There's no terrain around. Actually, let's just do this again, because this doesn't work. Ah, come on, clear it. EKCH. 22 right, 220 degrees, 15 miles, that would do. In there, BBD, CDP. In there, that's back into Copenhagen, EKCH. What's the hold? Anybody know the hold? That's the thing. What have you done that for? Why have you gone to there? See how much am I doing? Am I being daft? That, thank you. That's... It's when this doesn't do the things you're expecting, you suddenly look at yourself and just go, is that just... It's just had a brain fart, it's not gone to the page I expected. 2-2 right, no start, just straight in, that's fine. Hold here. I can't remember. You can change the fuel in the map. You can you do that? Okay. Let me just have a look at the emergency procedure. Where's my thingy? I think it's stuck on the desktop, actually. It might be easy to look at it there. There it is, yeah. Right, where are we? Denmark, that's near the top. CC, Cyprus, Denmark. Copenhagen, where are we? 2-2 right, standard 16 street left turn to the... Oh no, CDA, sorry, not CDP. Is it CDA or CDP? Okay. CDP. CDB's not, yeah, it's not CDP, is it? CDA. There we go. CDA, that's the one. Secondary. So yeah, not CDP, CDA. CDA. CDA 39, that's it. Hold. What do we say it was? 22 rights. CDA hold, inbound 032 right turns. 032 rights. 032 right turns, that's in. Berth. 1012. 26 degrees. What was the wind? North Pole. Where am I? That one. Wind is 1007. I wonder if that's 04. Possibly was. What are they doing the road? That's not the right one. Yeah, no, they are. They are. They're using 04. Okay. Bollocks. I've got to change everything again. Right. 04. 04 rights. 107. Ugh, God. Right. Departure. I should have looked at this before I did this. Really, 04. And it will be 7 Alpha. Secondary. Let's copy that again. EKCH. 04 rights. 04015. What do you mean not in database? I know, because I'm creating the bloody waypoint. EKCH 04 right 040 15 miles. Thank you. CDA down there, there, back in maybe I'm EKCH. I was having a dyslexic moment, probably. That's probably what it was. Arrival was 04 left. No star. So what was the engine out for 04? Probably about the same. 04 right. Oh, not. That's Novpo. Yeah, no, it's Novpo. Yes, yeah. Novpo. Right, left turn to Novpo. No, 3. Right turns. North. It's so much easier when these are just stored in the actual database. Alright, north bow, hold 350. Right turns, yeah, good. Done. Excellent. Forgot the art. Oh, there we go. Yes. Going too fast. Right, that's done. That's done. Overload sheet in a minute, I'm sure. Get you. That's you. Only the configuration. Let's do that. Let's do that. Failures random. None. So it's like I said, store as default. I always say store as default. It never actually happens. Fuel. Oh, there we go. Fuel. Can I add? Yeah. So we put a bit more fuel on. Let's put another ton on. Because it's Cat C. Load fuel. So is that going to change? Oh, it's done it immediately. Oh, there we go. An immediate fuel uplift. Brilliant. That would do. That's fine. A few nectar points. Nectar points are your Sainsbury's voucher things for people that aren't in the UK. At Zoom, AOC received load sheets. So I've got 0 fuel 858.9 slash take off fuel be a bit more because we just load another ton. 0 for 30.9. 28.9 to do for the trim. Perf. What's the takeoff weights? Take off weight. There we go. 66. Gonna be about 67.7. 67.7ish, I think. Thereabouts. Right. Init page. So was it 58.9? So yeah, that's pretty much what we expected. 30.9. Done. Yeah. Balance validation's done. We're gonna put 9.2 now. So 67.9. Okay, 67.9. Good. Right. Malibu, hello Wayne. I'm doing that one. So for rights, dry. Flat one, no toga, no packs. 67.9. 28.9 would be the CG, more or less, maybe a little bit forward, a bit more fuel. Sync the winds, 110, yeah, that looks good. And in terms of intersection, what's the intersection? Bravo 3. One thing that's worth checking here is the intersection distances. I was looking at, where was it the other day? I was in another airport, and I looked at the distances on the EFB compared to what it says on the chart, and they were wrong. They were a few meters shorter. So, I mean, like in reality, if that was the case, you wouldn't be able to use it. So, Bravo 3, if we look at the declared Tora, I'll find the charts, take off minimums, be on air. So there we go, 04 right Bravo 3, we're expecting 2795 metres. So if it's anything less, Bravo 3, 27, so there we go, spot on, perfect. But yeah, there was the intersection, it was more, it was longer. The intersection data in here was longer than what it said on the chart, so of course that was no good because you need it to be at or less really when you do the takeoff performance. So anyway, that's done. Speeds look good. 43, 46. 143. 143 twice, is it? 143, 146 twice. 143, 146. 146. Thrust acceleration attitude, that's... See, why is this not 1,000s? I know why that might be not 1,000s. What's on here? But these aren't set up properly. Some settings, so I need to change. Airframe. Yeah, do that. Yeah, there we go, 1,000 feet. Auto TCAS, no. yes, 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 no, yes. Cabin, no. That could be fine. Right outs, no. No, no, no. That's pretty standard ones, yeah, that's fine, that's better. Right, performance should be better now. Maybe 1,000, that's good. We said flap 1 and 60. Flap 162. 62 degrees on the flex, good. So performance is done. So let's have a quick last minute paranoia. That's all good, that's done, that's done. 9.2, bit of extra fuel, that's what we want. Yeah, that's all done. Right, CIMIG 7 Alpha, that's what I need to look at. So, get rid of you. Departure. There we go. 04, right, that's the one. Right, what have we got for a stop? So that's looking good. Everything's normal there. In reality, you probably wouldn't actually do this. You turn right pretty much straight after you get contact with departure. Anyway, initial climb clearance is a flight level 70. Set that. INS coordinates look good. So we got 55, 37, 1. They shouldn't be blue anymore. They should be like a line at 57. 37, more or less 12:38. Yeah, close enough. Right, that's all good. 1012. That's that. That's that. That's that. That's all done. Status good. Right, I think we're all done. Let's have a quick look at the flight plan. Make sure that makes sense. Plan. Let's get a chart up just so I can see it on my side. Not Paphos yet. Alright, 04 rights, SID, CIMIG. Good, so is that 361, 362, DINIC, and CIMIG, yeah. Discontinuity there. Clear that out. I actually need the flight plan in front of me to really check this, but it all looks good. And then, yeah, sort of sounds out down the end. Good, right, how long we got? 15 minutes, so not too long, enough to brief, I suppose. Are we doing for boarding? OTAN. Okay. Boarding complete, excellent. Yeah, it'd be interesting to note on that because it's dry as far as I can tell, or it's been dry. You know, no clouds, so I suppose it's always a good idea to look at it, isn't it? OTANs. VOR, US. Cranes. ATIS. Runway condition codes. Yeah. I wonder if that's... Let me have a quick look. Because the problem with these NOTAMs sometimes they don't actually give times or dates or anything else, but let's just have a quick look at the real world ones. Because sometimes they're a bit more descriptive. Yeah, it does say it. From the 15th to the 22nd of August, between 9 and 4 o'clock local. Yeah, runway condition code 3 due to slippery wets. Okay. Right, is it going to do anything for performance? This is the thing, it's only got a wet figures anyway. Does it look wet? I think we can safely determine that it's cav okay, and at 27 degrees we can just say that's dry. There we go. I'm in your neck of the woods, Peter. Somewhere I've been to quite a lot in the past. Right, that's all sorted. Show a quick brief. Get it done and out of the way. Boarding's done, isn't it? So let's get these on. I should have got the AP on. Actually, no. I mean, Peter would tell me this. Copenhagen are... what's the words? Not harsh, but very militant, I suppose. Militant's a good word on the APU usage. So you're not allowed to use the APU before 5 minutes before you go. And if you do, you know, God help you if you do it, then you bloody know about it. So anyway, that's done. Load sheet might be there soon. No, not quite yet. And we're doing for the doors, everything else. Service. Chocks, you can go. I'll leave the GPU because obviously I haven't got the APU started yet. Connect the push. Get him ready. So, in terms of brief, big picture stuff, the aircraft is all fine. It's all working. Only the weather radar, see anything that doesn't work that we know about. Aircrafts, whether an aircraft is both good, no problems whatsoever. NOTAMs, well, we saw that NOTAM that Christian's pointed out, but that's not really going to affect us. Threats, there's not really too many threats for Copenhagen, really. Two nice long runways, good weather, no MSA to worry about either. So there's not really any threats locally for the departure. In terms of what we're going to do, we've got Copenhagen Tivat in there, so all the threats at the other end, really. That's all good. 37,000 feet is the planned cruise. Optimus says 3.4, so let's see. Let's 3.5. We can probably squeeze up to 3.5 initially, but 3.7 is probably a bit tough, so we're going to do that. Let's get you back in as well. So 4 left. Did I put that in? Secondary? I did, yeah. Did I put performance in? Probably not. 1012. So what did I say? It was 27 degrees? Something along those lines. 26. What's the minimum for 04 left, Peter? Come on, you should know this. I can't off the top of my head. It's probably about 200 feet something, isn't it? Not that one. Approach 04 left. Oh, not that one. Stop clicking so fast. Alright, 04 left, what we got? Cat C is 235, yeah, makes sense. So, that's all good. So yeah, it's all set up. That's all fine, got a bit of extra fuel flight plan. We got the CIMEG 7 Alpha. RNAV departure, that's why we can do that. 70 is stop altitude or flight level. RadNavs, don't need that anymore, really, going to somewhere else. Progress is check, going for 35,000 feet initially. Performance we've done, dry figures, flat 1. Normal noise abatements, fuel we've discussed as well. Secondary is sort of standard company Airbus emergencies. We are 67.9, so yeah, we are above max landing weight. Max landing weight on this one is 60... Are we above it? 66 tons. So yeah, about 2 tons over max landing weight. I mean, to be honest, we might be below that by the time we've sorted everything out, but potentially an overweight landing checklist. We need to come back into Copenhagen urgently. But we've got nice long runways, so that's fine. 04 left is closed, is it? Oh, Jesus Christ. So I'm just not paying any attention, am I? 04 left closed, 2100 to 0400. That's in the middle of the night, buddy, but it's daylight, so... Nope, I think it's fine. So yeah, that's all done. Yeah, basically standard company Airbus emergencies as we've briefed all before, as we did the other day, and that's pretty much it. I don't think there's much else to add to that. In terms of the taxi out, that's quite straightforward. We are Copenhagen, so I don't think any ATC is online. I'll double check in a second, but we're effectively up here on I don't know what pier that is, can't remember, but this on the Charlie pier. So we push back, and I will probably expect, if we're doing this, maybe Yankee Bravo and then down to 04 right, potentially Quebec Delta and then Charlie down there, but it's probably one of these variations, maybe Yankee Bravo, that's probably make more sense. Cross runway 30 and all the way down, and we got Bravo 3 figures, so we can take Bravo 3 or Bravo 2 or Bravo 1. We might do, yeah, probably do single engine, just get the first one going, get the ground crew going, and then we get the second one going pretty much straight away. So that's the plan of action. And so there we go, so 53 minutes, yeah, I think we're reasonably good. There's the final load sheet. What's the figure say? I'd love it if Phoenix did LMCs. LMCs used to be awesome. Just to give you something to think about, really. I mean, to be fair, LMC is usually negative anyway, so it doesn't affect you, but just to change things or get you something else to do. Right, zero fuel weight is 58.9, that's exactly what we got, so takeoff weight is 67.9. So again, there's no change there, so there's no need to change the performance. The only thing we need to look at is CFG. 31.4, so yeah, that's fine, that's within 2%, and the trim is going to be 29.1. 29.1 on the trim, good. Right, there's my pen, so if I've lost that when it's in front of me, I probably don't deserve to be here. Good, so right, let's do some checks. It's getting bigger, yeah, possibly. So that's the problem with the live streams, I suppose, isn't it? If you're relying on somebody else to point something out, then it may not always work. Right, so let's have a look at these things. Fuel. Done. Data. In it. So the aircraft acceptance has already been completed. Fuel quantity we have, what we want, 92, that's what we wanted, and it's balanced. Seatbelts are on. ADRSs, we have 3 in nav. And the BRF is QNH1012. That's cockpit preparation checklist complete. I probably talk quite fast as well, so that's probably not always great. Right, APU's coming on. Yeah, it's within 5 minutes more or less, that's fine. Right, do we have any ATC? Probably not. Oh, is that EKDK? I'm guessing that's Copenhagen. Oh, yeah, I've got Copenhagen stuff. Okay. What's that? 121.375. It's 5. Good.
Tivat 814 flight, welcome to Copenhagen, taxi via Alpha, cross runway 30 via Foxtrot and hold short of Zulu.
Alpha, hold cross runway 10 via Foxtrot and then hold short Zulu, Tivat 814.
In 8 kilo Ruby runway 04 right via Bravo 3, clear for takeoff the winds 110 degrees with 5 knots.
Clear takeoff runway 04 right, for 8 kilo Roma.
This is offline. Yeah.
Control, hello, Red Nose 3152 with information Alpha stand Alpha 8 requesting clearance.
Silence you for a minute. Running a bit behind now. Right, it is 2275. Oh.
QNH1012. At first contact with approach, state aircraft type. This was Copenhagen arrival information ELSA.
Visibility 6. Sky condition.
This is Copenhagen arrival information ELSA. at 1120. Expect IELS approach. Runway in use for landing 04 left. Expect Echo stars. Mike and November stars not available. Visual approach on request. Transition level. Flight level 65. Wind 110 degrees, 7 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. No clouds detected. Temperature +27. Dew point +18. QNH 1012. At first contact with approach. State aircraft type. This was Copenhagen arrival information Elsa.
At 10,000 feet.
Right, good, that's all sorted. Right, who are we? I'll try and remember again.
In 8 Kilo Romeo identified in departure, climb to flight level 190, high speed approved.
Flight level 190, high speed approved, finish 8 Kilo Romeo.
Copenhagen departure, hello, it's Scandinavian 2673, we're on stands, Charlie 34. Got information now for requesting clearance to Tivat, please.
That was short.
You're just ignoring me. Copenhagen departure low at CC 2673, radio check.
And Scandinavian 2673, confirm ready to copy clearance.
Yeah, thank you, ready to copy clearance, CC 2673.
Scandinavian 2673, clear Tivat, CMAC 8 Charlie departure, correction, CMAC 7 Alpha departure, runway 04 right, squawk 5002.
Thanks very much, clear Tivat, CMAC 7 Alpha departure, squawk 5002, he's Scandinavian 2673.
2673, clear, correct.
Right, what was it? 5002.
In Red Nose 350 at Copenhagen, request IFAT clearance to Aalborg. We are parked at the same Alpha 6 and have information Alpha.
Red Note 350, information Alpha is correct. Your clearance is to Aalborg, Mixi 2 Alpha departure, runway 04
Right, ready to
right,
go when there's a minute.
squawk 6053.
Do a German accent, like Spitfire.
Clear to Aalborg via the Mixi 2 Alpha departure, runway 04 right and squawk 6053. Red Nose 350.
Red Note 350, okay, that's correct. Finnair 8 Kilo Romeo, leaving my airspace, monitor Unicom 122.8, have a safe flight.
Monitor Unicom 122.8, finish 8 Kilo Romeo. Thank you.
Copenhagen departure, Scandinavian 2673, we're ready, push to start, Charlie 34.
Gala 2673, push and start approved, startup point Quebec 1, QNH 1012.
Thanks so much, QNH 1012, Quebec 1, pushback points, push start approved, Scandinavian 2673. Right, that's that done, that's that done, that's that done, turn you on. And checks below, not the below line, before starts, parking brake is set. Takeoff data is confirmed, windows are closed, PDs of flight mode doors are closed and armed, and the beacon is on. Right, Quebec 1, where's that? Parking stands. Okay, so push back that one, fine, fair enough. Services. Right, I assume he's ready to go. There's no voices on this one, so parking brake is off. Start, thank you very much. On. I forgot to take the chocks, cones, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Alright, so Quebec one's there, I think. Far off it. So Stanley 1, engine move selector is starts. Stanley 1. Do. Stop. Its parking mix is on. Right, he's disconnecting. Engine one is stable. Set it to single engine, so it's back to normal. Bleeds off. That's on. That's done. Neutral. Flaps 1. And we said 29.1, which is about there anyway. Good. Right, he's all clear. Alright, where's he going to send me for the taxi? Copenhagen control, Scandinavian 2673, ready for taxi.
Scandinavian 2673, taxi holding point runway 04 right, taxiway is Quebec, Delta, Charlie and Bravo, cross runway 12.
Thanks so much. Taxi 04 right via Quebec, Delta, Charlie, Bravo and 04 cross runway 30, Scandinavian 2673. Right, as expected, straight ahead, cross there, Delta, Charlie, so yeah, that's pretty straightforward. So we're clear both sides. Taxi lights on. I think. Come on, there we go. Sorted. Come on, Fatty.
And red nose 350 ready for pushback startup.
Red nose 350, your pushing startup approved to face east and startup point Juliet 4, QNH 1012.
God, that's sensitive. Right, I've done my bit. That's single engine done.
Push
so
startup approved facing eastern release point, Yankee for red nose 350.
Engine mode,
Taxi was just confirmed, release point is Juliet 4.
Juliet for red nose 350.
Yeah, starting 2. So again, should be straight across. So you started stable. That's done. Engine move selectors back to normal. AP's off and AP's coming off. Get the strobes on just because it is a runway, even though I think it's closed. looks clear. And after that, anti-ice is off, not required. Ecam status is jets. Pitch trim is 29.1% set, and the rudder trim is neutral. After that, checks complete. So left here. There's a left and a right. I'll do flight controls once I'm down this bit here. It's all clear this side. Okay, flight controls. Fill up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudder. Oh, don't want to do that, do I? Yeah. Full left rudder, and full right rudder. Done, that's done. That's all on, that's on me, that's all good. That's on, and that's done. And taxi checklists. So here's flight controls check, flap setting is config 1. FMAs, climb that blue, 1 FT2. Red unpredicted wind shear is on. Ecam MMOs, takeoff no blues, and EFBs are stowed and disconnected. So that's taxi checks complete.
Scandinavian 2673, are you able for Bravo 3 introduction?
Yeah, we can take Bravo first, that's fine, easy 2673.
Scandinavian 2673, right, right, Bravo 3, ratio for right, clear takeoff to wind 110 degrees with 5 knots.
Bravo 3, clear takeoff 04 right, Scandinavian 2673. Good, so that's clearance. That's all on. I've left the strobes on, never mind. That's on. So he's given the takeoff clearance. The approach should be clear. People should be landed on 04 left anyway. Had 3 minutes. Yep. Quick pets. We didn't do that, did we? Should have done that beforehand. But performance is all still valid. Engine departure was as briefed. Straight ahead, 6 entry, left turn to Novpo. Departure is the 7, whatever it is, 7 Alpha in that, and stopping at flight level 70. So line-up checklist, cabin is secure for takeoff. Takeoff runway is 04 right, 5 Bravo 3. Takeoff clearance is confirmed. TCAS is TARE, and PAX 1 and 2 are off. Good. So approach is definitely clear. So normally this is an automatic frequency change, but since he's probably online anyway and it's going to be speaking to him, that's fine. So there we go, let's go. Take off. Manflex 62 SRS runway. Contact. Lots to climb, gear up. AP1. Let's climb.
Red nose 3152, ready for push and start.
Red nose 3152, stand by.
Roger.
SB flap 0.
Red nose 350, ready for taxi.
Flap 0.
Red nose 350, taxi, holding point runway 04 right, fire taxiways Lima, Zulu and Delta, initially hold short of runway 1.
Okay, set standard. And standard is cross check.
Taxi to holding point 04 right via Lima, Zulu, Delta and holding short runway 12, red nose 350.
Oh, I thought you would have turned me by now. It's obviously making me do the whole lot. Departure Scandinavian 2673, we're passing 4,300 kilometers 70.
2673, identify departure, climb flight level 190.
Climb level 190, Scandinavian 2673.
2673, right turn now, direct to CMEC.
Thank you, direct to CMEC, Scandinavian 2673. There we go, 190 blue, right turn direct to CMEC. Direct, done. Perfect. Would have made a good screenshot if the sun was maybe on a slightly different side. It's not too dark. Anyway. Right, landing lights don't need those. Release crew, done. Done.
Red nose 3152 is ready for push and start.
I feel like I forgot something, I don't know why. I forgot to do the PEDs after what I should have done. That's all set.
Russia facing east on release point ready for Red nose 3152.
That's pretty good for the climb.
Red nose 350 via Delta, cross runway 12, continue taxi, Delta Charlie,
What was the scheduled arrival time?
104 right.
Crossing runway 12, continue taxi
14:50,
via
14:30,
Bravo, Delta
14:35.
Charlie, Red nose 350.
14 hour, 10 minutes early. Good. Excellent. Malmo's here somewhere, I think. Just off the nose. Yeah. So this is Malmo in Sweden. There's the airport somewhere here. There is scenery from Malmo, actually. Is that it? Somebody told me a funny story about Malmo. The Swedes weren't allowed to drink beyond a certain point. Now, at a certain time of the day, so they all got on the ferries here. and just went across to Denmark and Copenhagen so they could go and get drunk. So they went across there, got pissed, and then came back again. I don't know if that's still the case. There's a golf course that you can probably only use for about 5 months of the year, and the rest of it's probably covered in snow. There's no one. Oh, there's Malmo. It is busier, Wayne, yeah. There's more to do. I was thinking about this the other day at work. It's like a symphony when you're at work, because obviously you're pilot flying or you're pilot monitoring, you're doing one or the other generally, and you just sort of revert to what you need to do for either role, and you don't even think about it. If you're flying it, you do certain things. If you're pilot monitoring, you do the other things. But yeah, you just don't even think about what you have to do. It just sort of comes naturally. But when you're doing this on your own, you're doing both roles. You have to think, right, I'm doing that, and now when I do that, that's the trigger for the other guy, girl, to then do pilot monitoring things. So then I have to need to do that as well. So you have to sort of think about both things, which is yeah, a bit more hard work. Right, we're approaching 190, buddy. You're gonna let us go higher? Yeah, that's good. Right now, don't need any of those. 3-5, yeah, should be good. Done. Perf. Secondary, I copy that. Smooth enough. We can let the bounce go. Now let's go. Scandinavian 2673, approaching flight level 190.
2673, roger. Further climb is with uniform 122.8 as you're leaving my airspace. Have a nice flight. See you next time.
Thanks very much for the service. Unicom now 122.8, Scandinavian 2673, Yakuli. Right, let's keep going up. 35. Was it 35 or 37? I can't remember now. 35, yeah. Right, let's just climb up 350 blue and back to Unicom. I just realised I got a salad in my bag, which I forgot to put in the fridge last night. Which should be alright, it's only smart and fatter. Yeah, off the air a minute, I'm just going to see if that's still any good. I'll sniff it. Oh, bugger off. Right, I've put the salad in the fridge, so hopefully it'll be okay. A bit like playing in a rock band, actually. Yeah, sort of. Alright, so I guess there's no more ATC online. Where did I just put my phone? There it is. Keflavik's on. I was considering doing a Keflavik stream. That could have been quite interesting. So there's nobody else in front of me. Is anybody else going to Tivat? That's the interesting thing. Oh, there's 3 arrivals. Yeah, there's a few of us. Alright, turn you down. Manage climb. Hairy knees. Yeah, I've got hairy knees. I bet you got a hairy back, Wayne. You just sort of, yeah. I'd imagine you're the sort of person that's really hairy being an ex-submariner. Only commercial aircraft left would still require a third body on the flight. Yeah, there's still a few flying. There's still some 727s flying. They need engineers. I'm sure some of the A300s. I'm sure there's one or two. I mean, possibly not, but the original A300 that had a 3-person flight deck as well. So that's somebody up on the back for an engineer. There might still be one or two of those kicking about. 707s, got any sort of cargo things? I mean, there must be some of these in, you know, Africa. So yeah, there's definitely a few aircraft still probably kicking about. Pratt & Whitney, I saw a video on YouTube the other day. Pratt & Whitney still have a 747 SP, and I think that still definitely requires a flight engineer. So, yeah. There's very few left, but there are still, you know, one or two. Right, we're there yet? Not quite. Now we start entering into Polish airspace. Quite close to Ukraine there. We're not far away from where they built the V2 rockets. They built them up here in the Second World War. Can't remember the name of it now. This is on it. Yeah, so I'm sure it's like around here. There's an old World War II site where they did all the testing for the V2 rockets in Germany. Quite interesting, actually. I think what they did. Obviously not the actual V2 rockets, but all the work that went into it. Peenemund, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I knew it was something like that. I don't think it's on it. I think the RAF did they tried to do a very good job of bombing it, didn't they? I don't actually know how successful they were, but yeah, I don't know where that is. It's somewhere around here, I believe. It's this side, isn't it? It's east of Hamburg. Good, well that's going to be it for another couple of hours, I think. Not going to have to do much else. I'll probably sit here and enjoy the views. also a museum of the first heat-seeker missile heads. Yeah. Where the V1 facility was modular, didn't take long for the Germans to rebuild it. No, it was... They were all on sort of like ski jumps, weren't they, the V1 rockets. Doodlebugs. Remember them being called the Doodlebugs. I suppose it's quite fascinating, really. That's sort of the early signs of guidance, missile guidance, rocket guidance, etc., which obviously developed into the space program. Some civilian getting his barbecue blown up by an errant heat-seeker missile. There's got to be a pretty big barbecue. My barbecue has about 20 coals on it, when I do mine. I'd be impressed for a heat-seeker missile to detect that. Right, it's 1,000 to go. Cruise 77. Degrees Fahrenheit. I don't use Fahrenheit, Wayne. That's that's what Americans use. That's old. So, I mean, you're showing your age there. You've been saying you still buy things in pounds and ounces next. Mac out star. Out cruise. Right, where are we? Let's get some weathers. Do a fuel check. See Zelol. I'm sure we've got more than we need, so we add an extra ton. So Zelol. There we go. So about 6 plus the ton plus a contingency, probably about 7.2, 7.3 is what we need. So 7.5, yeah, it's got plenty. In terms of where we're going to go. So there's some decent places. Oh, we've got us Berlin, Warsaw, Krakow, Dresden. Yeah, there's probably a couple there, isn't there? Which is pretty good. Even Gdansk isn't too far off. It's probably a little bit closer. Let's have a look. This neck of the woods don't fly around too much, so I don't really know what the 4-letter codes. Berlin's probably closest. AOC weather. EBBR. Was it EDD? No, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Where's EBBR? That's Brussels, isn't it? Yeah, Brussels is good. No, near Brussels, don't care about that. EDDB, that's what I want. Yards, feet and inches, yeah. Yeah. You do. Yeah. But you can't use pre-decimalisation for your money anyway, so you've had to be dragged into the modern era for that, I suppose. There we go, so Berlin, or 3008, Cavalcade, good, 33 degrees, all is warm in Berlin. Nice, so that's fine. Where else? Is it Dresden? EDCC. Dresden's the same, that's good as well. And I've got Prague as well, that's not too far off the routes. So if you get that, OKPR. Prague Cavalcade gas scan, yes, it's all very, very nice. Let's have a look at Krakow, it's just off to the left. Cavalcade, good, yes, Krakow's good as well. So we've got Tivat, so LYTV. Tivat's fine, Cavalcade 31 degrees, there's no problems there. Good, that's done. I think we were about a minute late pushing in the end, but that wasn't too bad. But, 24 minutes at Bedam. Should be more or less on time. But, 26, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I know people call Barry, or I call Baz, Wayne, are the same. I think anybody I've known that's called Barry has been called Baz, actually, to be fair. View. Certainly a bit more weather around anyway. A bit more cloud anyway. What is the en routes? Okay. Where do we go from Copenhagen? And Tivat. Yeah, some good thunderstorms coming over Slovenia and Croatia at the minute. We should be east of that. So we're sort of going through the Czech Republic, just probably just around Vienna, Hungary, and then towards Croatia. But yeah, we've got some really big thunderstorms. Cool. Bet boy's going to have fun avoiding them today. Yeah, I wonder if they'll show up in the sim. Hard to watch Die Hard. Yeah, but Die Hard never never gets old, does it? I mean, you can watch Die Hard all the time. I mean, the only annoying thing with Die Hard is what they did with the. They calibrated the glide slope, or they did something, and they said, "Oh, minus 200 feet," and I just thought you can't even. I don't even know. You can't do that, can you? I'm not too sure how else they could have done that. I mean, trying to think about it, because they were flying. Was it DC-8, wasn't it? I think so. Was it Windsor 114? That was a DC-8, and I'm fairly sure a DC-8's got a radar altimeter. So they could have even given them an incorrect QNH. They could have said, given them a QNH or a pressure setting that was, it would have been America, so sort of 10 inches of mercury less or whatever, to make their barometric altimeter overread to what the actual true altitude was. But they still would have had a radio altimeter, and if they'd been any good, they would have been double checking their height versus what they should have been on the profile anyway. But I don't know, I suppose there's a bit of creative license there. I'm not too sure how else they would have been able to film crashing an aircraft in that way. Don't know. And then it's 45-48 review. You've chosen 04 left at Cat C. There's also Alpha. Is that for me? I don't really understand the question. Oh, do you mean minimums? Oh, you were talking about minimums, right? Yeah, sorry. I'm with you. So it's the aircraft minimum, basically. These, or is it 04 left? So you're talking about this, aren't you? So yeah, why did I pick 235? Because these are aircraft categories. You've got Category A, Category B, Category C, Category D, and these are all based on your bridge speeds over the threshold. And the Airbus is a Category C aircraft. You can get some 321s that have got additional centre tanks, and then Category D, but the majority of all 320s are going to be Category C, so in that respect you need to use the Category C minimum, which in this case was 235 feet. So yeah, that's why we use that. These other three are basically, just don't need to worry about them. That's the one we want, 235, because it's Cat C. Yes, that's basically it. And it is Barrow, yeah. So that's not a radio altimeter decision height, that's a barometric decision altitude, which is what it says there. So, it's a decision altitude, which is 235 feet on your barometric altitude, and that correlates to 222 feet above the ground, essentially, which, it's interesting because the minimum Cat 1 decision altitude could be 200 feet above the ground, but this is actually 222 feet above the ground, so it's 22 feet higher than what it would normally be. But there we go. Why it's a little bit higher, I've got no idea. But there we go. 235 is your minimum for the ILS in an Airbus of this size. Company message. There we go. People whinging at me for being late. So AOC received. SASOPS. CADC delay. Go. Sorry, free checks if applicable. Are they 1 minute? Do you really care about a minute? Honestly, I think it was. Somebody else was on the frequency, wasn't it? I probably could have asked to push the start, 60 seconds earlier if somebody else hadn't been saying something. I don't know if they got a delay code for that. I don't even know where that manual is. That's alright, no worries. What's the time? Quarter to 2. What time do we so we're going to land about 3:30 local. That's fine, that's okay. Got no idea what my dog's doing. He's probably chilling out somewhere. Alright, so this is all Poland. Berlin. I think that's... no, there's Berlin. EDDB. I'm trying to pick out the decent airfields. Berlin. Dresden. Krakow. And then we've got down there, it's Bratislava, there's Austria. Yeah, Bratislava I think is down here. Which aircraft was Cat D again, even though its speed was Cat C? Which aircraft was Cat D, even though the speed was Cat... if the speed's Cat C, it's Cat C, basically, Christian. 787s are Cat C, I think, because, you know, they have, you know, effectively comparable approach speeds. That's with 320. 747, that probably is Cat D, because, you know, they obviously were quite large, and their approach speed is probably a bit heavier. But yeah, I'm fairly sure 787 is Cat C. I don't know about a 777. 330 was Cat C, I believe, as well. That was also the same as a 320. 340, 300 is probably Cat D, but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. Every time I've gone from Berlin with ATC, single pushback ops, even though there's enough space. Yeah. They thought you looked boring, Barry. That's nice, isn't it? I mean, it's really sort of tarnishing all the accountants, isn't it? I mean, that's you know, insinuating all accountants are very, very boring. I'm sure a lot of accountants are extremely interested. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have any accountant friends. I know people that have been accountants and they stopped being accountants because they found it incredibly dull. Into sort of proper Cold War theatre of operations here, aren't we? I'm sure there's a lot of, if we look from old airfields that are old Cold War airfields that were probably populated by lots of MiGs before the Soviet Union collapsed. First officer's going nuts about something in the garden. Somebody's probably walking past the house, I'd imagine. Yeah, there we go. There's the two dogs he doesn't like. Yeah, right, mate. Yeah, I know you don't like them. They're outside. It's fine. Hey, quiet. Quiet. I think I just did your home PTU. Yeah, you probably did, Christian. Yeah. He certainly does his job well, anyway. Paddington Airfield. There's a bit of tarmac. And what's that? There's some lights. Looks like a contrail, doesn't it? If that's an aircraft, maybe it is. Might be an aircraft below us. Could well be. I think that's Poznan, I think, down there. Yeah, not that one. Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to come into the house and meet him without being invited. Like, he's sweet, he's a lovely little dog, but I do think he'd rip somebody's face off if he didn't know who they were. It's really not a bad thing. Yeah, so I think that's Poznan, so there's a decent airfield down there. Not sure what this is. Definitely looks like an aircraft that's flying. What is the wind speed up here? Yes, it's a lovely day today, so I don't think it's going to be too bad. So there's the wind speed. 227 degrees is coming from 227 magnetic. So it's coming from here. It's at 227. So it's almost a direct crosswind, and at 32 knots. So reasonably light winds, these sort of altitudes. Now, interestingly, this is a lot of people probably don't. Some people probably do this, might be teaching people to suck eggs, or it might not be. But often you think, what's the headwind component, what's the tailwind component? People maybe try and work it out. Your headwind and tailwind component is really easy to work out just by multiplying your ground speed from your TAS. And in this case, the ground speed is 2 knots slower than the TAS, 2 or 3 knots. So, we've got a 3-knot headwind. So even though it's 32 knots of actual winds, there's only 2 or 3 knots of that is the actual headwind component. And obviously when this is more sort of diagonal, if it's 45 degrees, and maybe a lot faster, it's a bit harder to sort of work it out. But again, you just have to look at the difference between the ground speed and the TAS, and then that's going to be a headwind or tailwind component. So yeah, some people sort of sit there and go, well, you can always see it in their head. They're trying to work out, is it 10 knots, is it 15 knots headwinds? It's like it just says it there. Just see the difference between the two values, and that's going to be it. So it looks like it probably would have been an old Cold War airfield. Probably old military one, potentially. Oh, that aircraft's turned now. He's coming this way. He's like a fighter jet or something. He's doing things. Yeah, no, 737. Going down to Palma. Do people work out the headwind, tailwinds, or does it? Well, it does on like landing. So we got a 15-knot tailwind limitation for landing and takeoff. Obviously, it's a bit more relevant on landing because it's easy to see. So this is where some people, if you've got a directional wind from behind you, that's maybe, I don't know, let's say a stupid figure of like 20 knots from behind you. At 1,000 feet or 500 feet. Sometimes you see people staring at the screen. You say, what's the tailwind component? And they would just look at it and they would stare at it, and so they'll pause for about 6 or 7 seconds, and you can just sort of see that they're not really just doing the simple maths, and they're trying to work it out based on the sort of direction and the speed and stuff. And that's all you've got to do is just literally subtract one from the other. And obviously, if your ground speed is 150 knots and your TAS is 150 knots, 140 knots, you've got a 10 knot tailwind. So it doesn't really matter what way it's coming from or the speed. You just need to know the difference between these two values, and that's going to give you your head or tailwind component. And when you're landing, you know, if you get quite close to the ground, and then suddenly it looks like this is now going to be, you know, above 15 knots faster than your TAS, you know, there's a very good chance you're exceeding the tailwind limitations for landing. So, you know, you need to monitor it really, but you know the days where the winds are from the wrong direction. So, you know, normally you obviously land into wind, but if it's a particularly windy day or it's gusting around all over the place, you know, you will monitor this quite carefully. And you know, so if you get to 100 feet or so, you know, if I got to 200 feet and I saw it was probably going to be outside tailwind limitations, I'd probably just be either telling the first officer to go around, or, you know, be going around myself, depending on who's flying the aircraft. My ex-missus used to use my head as a fire beater whenever she sat on dinner line. Yeah, our postie's not. Our postie's, I think he's Nepalese. I think he's lovely, you know. He's a lovely guy, and he lives on the estate, and he's really, really nice. And he's a really good postman, and always really, really friendly, as postmen generally are. And my dog's gone out to sort of, well, he's not quite gone out to see him, but I've held him when I've opened the door, and you've seen him just visibly sort of take a step back. I just don't think he's particularly that fond of dogs. I mean, my dog's really friendly. You know, he's not that bad, but he's just got a bit of a bark, and he's not certainly not a dog that you would want to come into the house uninvited. So yeah, our postie, I think, is just a little bit gives him a bit of respect, I suppose, that he deserves. Right, anyway, let's look at Tivat. What we've got here. What we're going to do. So, what was the weather? The weather was actually pretty nice. I'm tempted to do the slightly harder approach because it's a bit more fun. If you meet up 3007. Okay, no, it's 3007, so I probably can't do that then. That's a better for us. I was going to hope it was a bit less than that. Okay, so I probably can't do that. Originally, I was thinking I was going to do 1-4 because I thought the winds were sort of more southerly, southwesterly, and I thought it would be quite good fun to do the sort of circling approach to 1-4. But 3007 is probably better to use 3-2, so that's what we'll stick with. And arrivals. Here's one of these. So this is an RNAV arrival, which looks pretty good. TAS not doing that. Pod 3 Bravo. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Probably Ego, so we're going to do that one. And there's a few options. Let's have a look. Let's see what the company brief says. Because that's usually a pretty good place to start. If I get the right page up there. I do. Yeah. So what they say for Tivat. So Tivat, CAT-C again. Circling prescribed tracks on runway 14132. Bolt landing procedure on runway 32. Says bolt landing procedure to apply. If going to land on that one. Gliders must be qualified to meet the recency requirements. I haven't actually been there, so it doesn't really apply to me. But there we go. It's a sim. Operations. Ops refer to. Don't need to worry about that. Calling a GPU not available. That's fine. We've got the APU, so that's not a problem. Fueling with passengers on board is not allowed. Okay, there's no ATIS or VOLMAT, so if you want to get the weather, you'll have to get that directly from the sort of tower frequency. The operating restrictions: captains, authorised commanders only, no experienced first officers, no training flights except for training for aerodrome qualification or revalidation. Captains only approaching and landing, that's fine. And daylight operations only, so we'll be on landing on the days, that's not a problem. The threat and air management, lots of high terrain around, which we can kind of see that, which will come into the brief later.
Traffic.
Oh. Who's that? TCAS out of control. What the hell? Okay. Flight director's off. In the green.
Clear of conflict.
Who was that donut? That's for me, that's fine. Good. Right, what were we saying? Tivat. Yeah, rapidly rising high terrain, which we know about. It's possible some wind shear with light easterly, southeasterly winds. It's not, it's northwesterly, so that shouldn't really be too much of an issue. Possibility of bird strikes. The Tivat DME is not co-located on runway threshold. Regular reports received concerning localized deviations on runway 32. And wait. Initial radars provided by Dubrovnik or Bosnia. Depends if you come from the northeast or northwest. Expect to transfer to Tivat Tower. Expect a procedural arrival to all runways via Gossets. Gosset 4000 and then Taz. Right, so that's fine. So Pod, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Pod is down there. Sorek. And that goes to Gossett, which is good. That's 4,000 there. Connection is provided by Dubrovnik radar or Pod radar. And then from there it's localized as Zulu. Alright, so which one's preferred? Right, runway 32 during daylight operations only, but restrictions towards the AOI. Runway 32, flight path angle is 3.2. Which it is, yeah, that makes sense. Localizer runway 32 is considerably offset. We know this, yeah. Only stable approach method should be used, that's fine. TS reports localized deviations intercepted during the final. 32 is highly recommended to find the approach and track FPA. Track FPA rather than nav FPA to avoid any uncommanded lateral deviations during the intercept. Okay. Accurate monitoring the correct lateral and vertical profile by PM, which is absent for me, is required. The approach should be flown as published to the 1 nautical mile Tivat point, where the aircraft should be aligned with the final approach. So we're going to be one mile here somewhere, I guess. All charted DMA distances based off the Tivat's localizer and not on the distance towards the runway. Right, well, that's basically that bit, isn't it, really? Yeah, so that must be that's the DME there. NDB 32 is considerably offset, so I don't really think we're going to do the NDB. Why would we do the NDB? We wouldn't do the NDB. Let's approach localizer. We'll talk about that later. Runway 14, we're not going to do runway 14 because I don't think the winds are going to be good enough to do it. Good, so during daylight operations for runways as departure, I'm not going to worry about that, good stuff. Oh, there we go. Final for runway 32, note the 20 degrees offsets. And they've circled something. Have we got any photos? Probably haven't. No chance. No. Sometimes Navigraph have like images of what you can see out the window. There's a really interesting, I've got a picture here, and it's not really detailed enough this, but it's basically a picture out the window when you can see the runway. You're probably taken about here, and there is 2 warehouses. There's a road which goes just to the sort of northwest of the airfield. It goes all the way around here, and then it goes all the way through the valley, effectively following this sort of path. I suppose there's a road that goes all the way through here. And then there's a couple of warehouses, and it looks like one's got like a big red door, and It's a big sort of blue roofed type thing, which is here. They've circled that, and I don't really know what they've circled. I don't know, just an aim point or something, but I suppose that would coincide with going over the centre line of the runway, maybe. But I doubt that's even modelled, to be honest, so it might be there, it might not be there. Last time I used default live try, I had kids trying to cut that. 26 calls goddess. Yeah. I've got a multiplayer off that, I think. I don't think I've even got that on. I mean, Gav, I sent Gav a screenshot of sort of some of my settings, really, and he just groaned. He went, oh my god, no wonder your PC struggled. Because I think I had multiplayer on as well, so it's like multiplayer, normal, live, real-world traffic, and then VATSIM traffic. I didn't know you could have all of those on at once, but apparently the sim was probably not coping very well just for that. So yeah, I've got multiplayer off, so this is just VATSIM traffic that's on here now. But unfortunately there's still idiots, isn't there? I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, this guy hasn't replied. Yeah, he's not going to reply because he doesn't even understand what I'm saying, probably. There we go. Right, let's stop the chop check what we've got in here. So, look closely for you. Yep, that's it. Mammal, olive, whatever we're doing, either of those. Olivu, Gosset, that's what we're doing. That's the next bit. Taz, that's the NEB. And then 4,500, so 4.5 miles. 1650, that's pretty close. And the missed approach point is 3.2 miles, yeah, okay. Right, and away. Dart for just sending me something on Discord. Yeah, it doesn't really happen in real world, Wayne. Obviously, things like that are pretty serious events. So yeah, runway. Come on, runway incursions. Yeah, they don't really happen. That's the ones I need. It's 314. there's the centre line. I mean, the great thing about it, when you just blast through them. You know, there's no harm's actually going to be done, is it? I know that's not really that realistic, but you know, if I was on final, yeah, maybe not here, 'cause it's slightly different, but you know, say I was on final in Palma or anywhere else, and you know, you're on Unicom, but Unicom call in, say you're landing, give your distance, and then somebody just lines up in front of you and starts taking off. I'm just landing on them, I'm sorry, but if you're going to be stupid enough to line up when somebody's on final and not pay any attention to Unicom or do any calls yourself, then you deserve to be, you know, landed on, as far as I'm concerned. I did see was there a video or something, there's new rules or something for VAT Sim. I've not even watched that. I mean, that'd be quite interesting. Right, Mr. Bridge, can't go in. We sort of discussed this on the engine out stuff. Again, 2 engines, 5% we're going to be able to achieve that. No problems at all. So minimum is 1370, 5,000 metres we're going to need for visibility, which is, again, is going to be fine. So 1370. We're going to do this flap 3, because flap 3 is generally pretty good. What's the weather? 3007. degrees, 1012. That should be on standard probably. 102. There's no change. 31. Warm again. 3007. No, not that one, that one. I'm interested in GS6, everyone's talking about it, but can someone enlighten me, like what's it actually going to do? Because, you know, this has a pushback tug. Maybe I'm a bit naive, but right, and it was dry, apply the weather, yeah, that's fine, that's good. Landing weight, what are we going to be, landing weights? Oh, if somebody gives it to me for free, I don't mind doing it. So we're 59 tonnes, it's going to be about 4 tonnes when we land, so 50, 63-ish. Let's go medium order brake, flap 3 is going to be fine. It's actually really a bit... a low order brake's going to be fine, I think, to be fair. We've got to vacate at the end. Basically, overall ground services simulated boarding passengers. And yeah, new code of conduct. I need to watch that video. Insulting people and sending them private messages, calling them Muppets is probably against their new code of conduct. So there we go. Whoops. Never mind. What else have I got to do? Miles away yet, where are we? So Vienna's not far off. Let's go a couple of these. So Vienna, Budapest are decent places. So Austria's good, decent winds, Cavite 34 degrees, again no problems. LHBP, Budapest was a nice, nice airport. Budapest, yeah, Cavite, that's good, 35 degrees, hot. Hot in Budapest. Where else? That's pretty good. Zagreb, let's have a quick look at Zagreb. LD. ZA. Cavite, that's fine, it's Cavite everywhere really, is it? I wonder what's, where was that weather? Ljubljana, let's have a look at Ljubljana, see what that says. It should say CVs. I don't want to go there. Just have a few CBs becoming 260, gusting 30 knots. Yes, this is the weather that's coming in from the west. Just sort of getting to Ljubljana already. So yeah, it's definitely over there. Where's the Olsons? LT. Is it AI? Albania? No, that's Turkey, isn't it? That's it. So Albania, Tirana, I think, yeah, that's one of the alternates. That's a guess, going against workable. Everyone is Brindisi, LIBR. Hello, mate. You barking at people, you monkey. LIBR. Send. So Brindisi is another one. Cavite, everywhere's good. Next everyone that's just up the road. Nice question, yeah. Cheers. Yeah, I'll be interested to see it, just to see what it's like. Variable chemical, yes, everything's good. Excellent. Right, where is do another fuel check if we can. Patak in 4 minutes. CMSA. So 63, that's fine. So it's above 10. No, it's all below 10 at least as well, between here and Tivat, so MSA is fine. But Patak should be about an hour and 17 minutes in, and for 5.3. Right. Yeah, get loads of fuel. And yeah, straight over the top of Budapest, which is down here. There we go. It's the river. Name escapes me, but you've got Buda one side and Pest the other. It's 2 cities. But I like doing Budapest. Budapest is a nice little flight. It's a nice airport. Nice and easy. Right, so I'm just going to go off the air a second, see if my lunch has cooled down, if it's edible. As soon as it's been out of the fridge for about a day. Right, 1 second.
1976 taxiing main apron via Mike Alpha 5 Bravo, holding point Bravo 5 to runway 13 left. Budapest traffic, KLM 1976 lining up 13 left for gas 2 Bravo departure.
Hey Christian, yeah, sorry, no, I was muted. I was just eating my lunch. I'm just going through a few things. I wasn't actually discussing anything in terms of brief yet, so don't worry. So yeah, I was muted, but I will discuss everything in terms of what we're going to plan to do a bit later on. So yeah, don't worry about this if there's silence from me. It is Wayne. Yeah, I've got online services unavailable, which you may or may not see. Let's see if the internet's down. Successfully connected. No, I've not landed there before, Wayne. It's not the easiest place to go to. I think that when the weather's fine, the weather's not too much of a problem, but when the weather's horrible, which it can be, it can get really windy and gusty sort of in this valley, I know, which is where the major threats are. Certainly when the wind's coming from particular directions, it gets really, really choppy down here. So the wind's it's quite nice today. It's a sort of nice, steady northeasterly breeze. So I don't expect it to be too much of a problem today. I am just getting my bearings before I sort of go for anything. That's usually what we've got. So we've got about 10 minutes. 10 minutes going to start looking to go down. So I'm going to start briefing it now. Actually, because I think most of it's in the box of what we want to do. So we can start with, in terms of briefing, Tivat, we've sort of looked at some of the main operating restrictions previously. So we know it's authorised commanders only. There's a bit of threat and error management there, sort of train around, which we can certainly see on the approach chart there. So MSA, I've put the MSAs in by the TAS NDB, so 8,400 to the north, and then 6,900 to the south, southwest, and 7,600 to the east. So we should be visual all of this anyway, and it's daylight, so even though these are the MSAs, we should still be able to look out the window and just avoid any terrain if you really, really needed to, but we shouldn't go anywhere near the MSA too much anyway, because we'll just comply with all the sort of heights on the actual approach itself. So that's been discussed. In terms of the approach we're actually going to do, we're going to do the localizer Zulu to 3-2, so this one here. This is all in here. There's a couple of things that we've got to do differently on this one, just in terms of the way we're going to fly the approach, and there's a bolt landing procedure, and there's a different procedure. Connection's lost again. I hope you're still getting this. I hope this is all streaming okay, because the internet's dropping off and on. So just give me a thumbs up if it's all fine. But yeah, there's a normal go-around procedure here, which is in the FMGC. So at any point we're unhappy with anything, and we're going to be visual, so it's going to be something like the aircraft's unstable or anything else. If anything happens before 3 miles, we just go around and follow this go-around procedure here, down to Dessau and then back to Lasti. But there's a missed approach or bulk landing procedure, which doesn't seem to be, I don't think it's in any of the charts. It's not on this, I don't think. No. It's not going to be the star. Unless it's, is there any sequence lands? No, so I don't think there's any bolt landing procedure written in Navigraph, which is a bit of a shame, but this is effectively what the bolt landing procedure suggests. It basically says follow the published path and overfly the runway. Connection. Yeah, my connection's dropping off and on. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's my internet. I think it's. I can only imagine it's something to do with the sim. Anyway, the bulk landing procedure, if anything goes wrong after 3 miles and we're effectively visual, the bulk landing procedure is then to go around, to overfly the runway, and then after we've overflown the runway, we'd make a left-hand turn to west, effectively 269 degrees. Once we're 2.5 outbound from the Tivat DME, so we're hard tuning that. So once we're 2.5 miles away from the Tivat, we'll make a left-hand turn off to the west, and then we're at 3,000 feet. 3,500 feet. We make a left turn back to the TAS. So there's 2 different go-around procedures. This is one of the FMGCs, so this one's easy, but if we had to go around after this, we have to sort of go over the runway 2.5 miles, left turn to the west. But this is going to be selected as well, because this isn't in the FMGC, so just have to be in a selected mode. And then at 3,500 feet, we can make a left turn back to the TAS NDB there. And there is a hold. Apparently it's 359 degrees. That's the TAS, which Is it published anywhere? Possibly. Don't know. But there is a hold there if we need to do it. More often than not, we'd probably just visually vector ourselves back around, maybe to Lasty, and just do another approach. But we need to know why we've gone around in the first place. If it's worth even giving it another go. So that's the sort of main threat. The weather's fine, so in terms of the big picture stuff, the weather's good, there's no real problems there. We know there could be sort of turbulent conditions on the approach. The aircraft's good, there's nothing wrong with the aircraft in terms of landing capability or anything to sort of stop us doing the approach. NOTAMs, I'm sure we looked at earlier, but I'll have a look now just in case. NOTAMs. Tivats. Opening hours, and then that's it. So yeah, there's no real sort of NOTAMs to worry about at all. Threats we've kind of discussed. We've discussed the terrain, we've discussed the bolt landing procedure, and certainly the weather if it gets a bit bumpy. And it's all in the box. So we've got this arrival, the Pod 1 Delta. So we go from Pod down to Soreg, Olivu, Gossett, and then from Gossett we effectively pick up the localizer procedure. Gossett. So we go towards Tivat, or Tiv, and from 4,000 feet we go down to 2,600 feet there, so we've got a bit of distance to lose at a time, and then we start the localizer procedure, going down to runway 32. Now in terms of how we're going to fly this, is a little bit different to what we would sometimes do with the localizer procedure. And this is just basically off the brief, and it says that due to reported localizer deviations in intercept, at intercept, so somewhere around here, and during the final of runway 32, it's highly recommended to fly the approaching track FPA. So I think what we do is we do this all in managed nav, and then once we're sort of on the localizer at some point, we go to track FPA, and we're literally just track this manually rather than leaving the automatic to follow the localizer using the lock mode. We use the track mode. Of course we use FPA as well. We'll pulse 3.2 because that's the descent angle, about 7.6 as well. And that's just to avoid any uncommanded lateral deviations during the intercept or during final approach. That's why we're using track FPA. It says the approach should be flown as published to the 1 mile points where the aircraft should be aligned with the final approach. So when we get to 1 mile, that's when we can start flying and intercepting the centre line of the runway. It says all charted DME distances is based off the TIV localizer and not the distance towards the runway. So that's effectively the brief in terms of how we're going to do it with track FPA. It also says somewhere, there you go, early stabilised approach should be used, so we'll get down to 2,600 feet. We'll be about 180 knots flat to round about Gossett, gets down to 2,600, and then we'll get the gear down at, what's that, 2 miles, so 9.3 from the TIV, and then flat 3 at 8.3, and then we'll pull FPA at 7.6. So a nice early stabilised approach, and then we're just all nice and configured to go down the approach. We've got the height checks, distances is here, so if we're a little bit high we can just correct it based on what we are, whether we're high or low. And at some point we should be visual, and it says at 1 mile we can then intercept the final approach track. In terms of what I've put in the FMGC, just for some tracks and distances, I've got the sense line there, so once we've passed this point, that probably won't be that easy to see. The sort of sense line there, so I know that as long as the aircraft sort of stays to the left of that or on that sense line, we should be good. Good, it seems like it's still working, that's the main thing. What else is there to say? It's all in here, that's all the flight plan, that's all done. Right now, so I've hard tuned TAS. What I might do is I might hard tune the DME for the localizer, because that's quite important for a few things. It's important for the turning on to final at 1 mile, and then it's also quite important for the bolt landing procedure at 2.5 miles if we go around after the 3 mile waypoint. So 111.3. So that's hard tunes there. So hopefully once we get a little bit closer. That DME distance should populate in the bottom left here, so that should be our DME distance from the localizer. The TIV DME enemy. So that's in. We'll have the localizer push buttons on because that will give us localizer indications. Now, I think I've seen Gav do this. We shouldn't actually get any glide slope indications because the localizer only approach. However, I think the sim has got a glide slope model on in the scenery or something else, so we might get a glide slope indication here on the PFD, but we're going to completely disregard this because it's all going to be done in track FBA, and we would just monitor the flight path angle and just double check the distances and the height based off the approach chart and adjust our vertical profiles necessary from that. So we're not going to pay any attention to any glide slope indications if it's there. Let's have the runway in LY TV 32. Because it's got situational awareness for the actual runway itself. Perf is all managed in the descents. Speeds look pretty reasonable. We've got there's the minimum 1370 feet. Landing config 3 because the landing distance is not a problem, and landing config 3 is quite nice. And lower the bridge should be fine as well. Have we put the barrow altitude on purpose? Yeah, did it? No, there we go. So literally one on way. That's so. There's the barrow 1370. Fuel. We've got loads of fuel. 2 tons extra again. So we just burn so much less than what the flight plan predicts. So we wanted extra fuel anyway. So we've probably got a good hour's worth. We're ready to enough to give it another go. But if we do go around, we need to understand why. And if it's worth giving another go, or going maybe up to Dubrovnik instead. Secondary I've left alone, I've not really touched that. I'm not going to look at runway 14. I was wanting to do an approach to 14, but the wind's not really favourable for that, so we just did 3-2. That's pretty much it for the brief at Tivat. So it's not, it's not too bad. The weather's reasonably good, which is in our favour, and we're just going to fly it as per the sort of recommended procedures. It should be really reasonably straightforward. The hardest thing is going to get not getting visual, but just transitioning from that offset approach. So transitioning from this inbound 334 degree radial onto the actual centre line because it is offset by 20 degrees. And there's a couple of notes there. For aircraft C&D, it does say the runway centre line is more than 15 degrees, which doesn't comply with PANOPS criteria. But that's the other thing I needed to say. So we're 334 inbounds, but the actual runway track, when I'm visual and happy to set it, it is 314. So yeah, exactly 20 degrees left. And we just sort of set it down. Pappies at 3.2, so a little bit steeper than normal. And in fact, because it is steeper, I'll tell you what, because it's steeper, I will do flat 4. I do like flap 3 in the sim, it seems to land quite nicely. Not so much in the real aircraft. Well, that's okay actually, but let's do flap 4. Because it's a steeper approach. VAP's 138, and also I've got, because it's an early stabilised approach, I've got VAP in at the final descent point as well, which is TAS. So there's the speed there. So yeah, flap 4 landing. Landing distance is a pretty problem. We'll land, go down to the end, and I suspect, unless there's anybody waiting to take off and maybe holding, we'll either come off at Bravo and then park at one of these stands. And I think, I can't remember how you turn, whether you just turn in and turn to face this way, to face the south, or whether you turn in to face east. I can't quite remember, I have to look at the markings once we're on there. There's probably not going to be enough time for single engine or doing anything like that, so we'll just leave it on 2 engines as well. That's pretty much it. I potentially want my specs, see if Nightbot can sort that out. I think I've uploaded these. So specs. Specs. That one. There you go. So, I mean, reasonably, just a simple sort of PC Tom, nothing too special. I don't know if you're aware, but Gavin, who does EasyJet in Pilot, how he donated this PC to me as a sort of gesture of goodwill for a bit of work that I'd done for him. So this is effectively donated machinery, which is very appreciated. And to be fair, it seems to be doing an okay job. And since I deleted the pushback help tool, touch wood, the sim seems to have been okay. It seems to have behaved itself a bit more. And I can't remember, it was Dave someone mentioned on the comments, that was talking about memory leaks and saying the pushback helper, it's always giving out memory leaks, which isn't helping. And I did wonder if this was related to the airports, because once you flew for more than a few hours, so after you've done a couple of hours flying, just all these airports disappeared. So you got so far, and then everything in front of you just wasn't there. But we can see here, we've still got all the airports. We've still got all the airports down in Greece. And I was wondering if this was somehow related. There's a memory leak or something, and these airports weren't then populated on the ND screen. But since I could probably show you actually. I deleted the pushback helper tool, but then I also can I bump this up? Maybe, yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but in the settings, I had on stream. Where is it? Yeah, in the encoder. I can't remember who it was now. Was it Nick? No, it wasn't Nick. So I've forgotten who it was. One of our regular viewers said, "Oh, have you got the encoder to the NVIDIA, which I think is the graphics card?" And I hadn't. I had it to something else, and they said that might help because then OBS is sort of going through the graphics card, which might take the strain off the sim. So again, I can't quite remember because unfortunately I'm a bit of a technophobe when it comes to these sort of things. I don't really know what I'm doing with the sim as much. Unfortunately, I know what I'm doing with the aircraft. So I'm still sort of learning a few things, but at least this bit's the straightforward bit. Yeah, and I'm trying to show how to operate it. We'll see what happens when we land. When I smash it in, but hopefully the sim won't pause. I've got the scenery. I've got the. Is it? What's the scenery called? Is it not Red Wings? Where are you? Tivat. Oh no, Pirigi, maybe. No. There's scenery in there for Tivat, so I think the scenery's a decent one as well. So it's not just a default scenery. Right. Anyway, we want to look at sort of maybe MSAs. I don't want to go down too low. That's the arrival. So I think maybe initially what 50 miles there would be 4,000 there. So we probably want to be about 10,000 feet maybe by pod. The other thing which I need to do on the approach, which I probably should say because that's what we need to do. Once we are visual, obviously the flight directors will be turned off. We'll set the inbound course, and once the flight directors are turned off, we just need to confirm that the thrust, the auto thrust has stayed in speed mode as well. So that's SOP. So both flight directors will need to be off, and we need to double check that the speed mode is still working from the auto thrust. It shouldn't be in anything else anyway, it should be in thrust idle, but again, we're just double checking that the aircraft is doing what it should do. Christian, change it back to flaps forward. Yeah, no, I did change it back to flaps forward. It's only because it's a 3.2 degree approach path, and generally, really, you don't want to start looking at flap 3 above 3 degrees. I'm trying to think, is there a SOP? I thought there was an SOP about it. I did try looking for this recently. I could have sworn there was something written to say basically don't use flap 3 on anything other than like a normal 3 degree glide path, but I just couldn't find it anywhere. I thought it was maybe the limitations of the SOPs, but even then I couldn't find it. So I was just looking in the wrong place. It's removed, or it's now written something, I don't know. You know, it's probably a very old school SOP. I don't remember writing it. I don't know. I'd have to look, but just for sake of completeness, I suppose, and just to make sure it's fine, we're going to use flat 4. Just wondering if it's in the approach briefing. Cruise. Descent preparation. Performance. I think they're going away from sort of hard and fast rules of, you know, don't do this, don't do that in these conditions for landing performance, because it's more like if you can do it from a landing distance performance calculation point of view, you know, technically you can do it. So I think so long as you're not busting any landing distance calculations, you know, it's a little bit less restrictive. Landing flaps policy. There we go. So landing flaps policy. So forecast tailwind is at landing is greater than 10. Config 4 shall be used for landing. Config 3 should be considered to depend on available runway length to improve go-around performance if wind shear severe turbulence is considered possible. And config 3 landings also reduce noise on the approach to safe fuel. Should be considered for the purpose to provide it. So care is exercised to achieve stable approach. No technical defects affecting land performance, no runway contamination. So yeah, to be honest, it's not actually there anymore. So yeah, I suppose technically we could actually do config 3. Should I start going down? Alright, 10,000 we said to start with. Thrust 0%, 10,000 blue. On that, should we go back? Let's go back to config 3. Let's give it a go. I don't think there's any restrictions, and it does give us better go-around performance. So back and forth. I need to reread that bit, but yeah, there's definitely no restrictions. We just have to make sure we're stable, but it's going to be a stabilised approach anyway, so there shouldn't be any problems with that. 42. Is there anybody else around us? Where am I? Good, a couple more other arrivals, but they're all miles away, so that shouldn't affect us. No departures either, so at least traffic should be fine. Alright, touch high, aren't we? Oh yeah, pretty high. Right, okay. Let's go down. Weather's good, so I'll go straight my side. Lovely scenery. Oh, right, remind me, I'm going to need to go and try and get a screenshot if I can. Why did I press that button? I don't know why I pressed that button. So it looks nice and clear ahead. Lots of terrain around, but we're visual of all of that. And yeah, 10,000 is within 25 degrees, 25 nautical nautical miles, so now was it 8.7 was worst case? 8.4, so yeah, 10,000 still safe. Alright, let's help you along. Tivat traffic, Scandinavian 2673, we're descending to 10,000 feet to the Papa Oscar Delta Viwa for the light low, so Zulu Bridge runway 32, and we've got about 80 odd miles to go. No one cares. LS. Yeah, well, I need it for the localizer, Bruno, so, you know, it needs to be on before 10,000 feet. It's on before 10,000 feet. That needs to be on as well, 1012. Now what's the transition altitude here? 10,000, so there you go, so that's QNH, so yeah, 10,000 is QNH. Looks like QNH as well, so QNH 1012 is cross-checked, and yeah, 10,000 is blue. And because it's a busy approach, let's just get the cabin crew sorted, so get them to prepare the cabin for landing as well. We'll do the approach checklist as well, just because it's a busy one. Where's the checklist? There we go, approach checklist. So Barrow FQNH 1012 is checked. Seatbelts are on. Minimum is a Barrow of 1370. Water brake is low, and EFBs are stowed and disconnected. Checks complete. So, how are we doing for the profile? What we got? So we've got about 50 odd miles to Gossett, was it? So what we want is 4,000 feet there, so we need to lose about 18,000 feet. 318s is, well, that's 36, 40, yeah, 48, so. So it's just about okay. 54 miles. Right, the minimum between Pod and Oliver is 5,000, so I'm happy to set that. So that's 5,000 blue. And yeah, it's just about 5,000 just after Oliver, so that should work. Might need a bit of speed brake, because it's a little bit fast. Have to slow down. Tango Near Victor's already identified, which is a good sign. Open descent. Right, bridge phase is activated. It's flashing VDEV at me. That's not, we're not doing an RMP approach. It's localizer. Okay. Well, I mean, if it does flash, that's fine. We don't have a glide slope anyway, we're not going to use a glide slope. Speed. Just going to ignore that. Give some ferries. Alright, we've got DME distances, that's a good thing, that's a good sign. So after Olivu, so yeah, 5,000, so after Olivu we go down to 4,000. Manage speed. close to these hills. Okay, flat 1. Speed checks. Let's get the landing lights on. Let's go with 1 actually, it's just easier. 180. Selected. Where are you going? Not sure where you're going. There's probably an error there, so. Start 4,000. Okay, it's basically going to go track FPA anyway now. So, bit of a anomaly there with the tracking for some reason. So now down to 2,600. Yeah, let's go flap 2. $2,600 blue. Let's tidy that up a bit. Yeah, manage speed. Start pointing towards Taz. And the MM course is 334. So next event, we start looking at the gear at 9.3 speed out start. Yeah, 9.3, then flap 3 after that, and 7.6. Start going down. Out. So the localizer should be coming in a second. It is. That's inbound track. Six gear down. Flat 3, space jet flat 3, and 7.6 we want 3.2. Not recently, Pete, no. So 3.2. That's 3.2, come on, FB8. This approach is 3,500. So now we're just monitoring, so we're down here, just looking out, I should see the airport at some point. Do the landing checklist in seconds. now all we need to do is just wait till about 3 miles down approach point, so after we missed approach point we're going to go straight ahead and then left 2.5 for bolt landing, but otherwise we can just do a managed to go around with it. Just keep tracking. 6 miles was 21.50, so yeah, we're about on profile. There you go, landing checklist. Cabin is gear for landing. Go around 3,500 set. Andy Cohen is landing with blues. So again, maybe a little bit left to track. So here's the road. There's warehouses up here. Centre line's over here somewhere. Yeah, it seems to be open at the minute, Danny. Don't hold your breath. Was it 4 miles? Is 1480. That's the last check height. So there goes 4 miles, 1480. Yeah, so pretty much back on profile.
100 above.
So I'm happy with this. So I'm going to disconnect the flight directors. So all thrust speed, automatic's coming off. And now we're just waiting to basically fly it visually, wait to about 1 mile. And we can start looking at that centre line. And the inbound course we want is 314, which is set. Just waiting for the pappies, which looks, is that maybe, is that one red maybe? A tiny bit high. So it looks like 2 reds, 2 whites, which is good. Slowly start coming around on the centre line.
500.
Stable. Keep your turn coming around. Go on, keep going. A little bit low.
$100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 5.
Come on. Thank you. So, spoilers. First green. Decel. And your brakes. Got all the Unicom calls, never mind. There's no one here. It's less than 70 knots. So it's all clear on the rights. Tivat traffic, Scandinavian 2673 is runway vacated. Nobody cares. Forgot to look outside, didn't I? Right, lights. Come on. Oh, fucking bloody things. Done. Let's pick a stand. So these look like nose in, and then, oh there you go, so basically facing the other direction. So I won't take, so it won't be this one, I'll take the next one. That's all done, that's done, that can come off APU, oh come on APU. Done, so not 3, I'll take stand 4. do a screenshot outside the aircraft, can't I? Right. So now I'm going to do turn right, and turn right again. Right, APU is almost there. This is where somebody was saying the other day about the turning circle. Like, you've got to go really slow sometimes just to get the turning circle. I don't think the guy actually had his nose wheel steering assigned to his twist stick, which probably didn't help. But you know, you can't sort of get a full circle or full turn in. You know, when you're doing sort of 6 or 7 knots, you know, you've got to be like 2 or 3 knots to get a really good sort of turn. So of course we normally have a marshaller here. There's an arrow there, and basically pointing that way where those arrows are. So wingtip should be fine because the wingtip's just past the nose of the aircraft, so as long as your nose doesn't bash into anything, you should be good. So something about there. Done. Fine, brakes on. That can come off. APU's on. Press good. Pattern brakes done. We've had 3 minutes. Engines can come off. Seatbelts are off. There's 10%. That's off. That's it. Beacon's off. That's fine. That's off. That's yeah, 2. Thank you. That's done. That's done. How much the RS has drifted? Not too bad. They're good. What's that? 2:29. It's not a bad flight time. They're off. Get these off. That's on. And we are done. That is it. So, yeah, that's Tivat. Simples. Look out the window. Fly the aircraft. Arguably, that was actually quite a nice, easy day to do that because the wind was pretty stable. It's actually suggesting maybe a bit of a tailwind there, but you know, it was fine. You know, it's you got a lot of terrain around, but you know, you can see the runway. That's what you're focusing on. You know, get the pappies in sight. And you know, the aircraft was stable at all times, so you know, it was a relatively straightforward approach. But you know, it's not always like that. It gets really windy down here, and you know, there's certainly a few risks involved and threats, which is why it's captains only. But you know, we did a decent job, and so we can let them off, can't we? Yeah, deboard. Passengers actually want to go on holiday. Ground services, steps. Chocks, forward stairs, aft stairs, 1 left, 1, 2 left. Bum. Right. Right, people should be able to get off now. Apparently there's a ground power unit. Okay, there we go, done. You can come on, you can come on. And there we go. Yeah, so thanks very much. Cheers, Dave. Thanks. I've deleted that thing you might have heard earlier, so I've deleted the pushback thing, and actually the sim seems to be behaving a bit better, so you're probably onto something there, whether you're saying about memory leak. You know, that could well have been the case, and the sim, I've done a couple of streams, like a couple of private streams I suppose, but I've done a couple of test flights since you suggested that on that Dalaman, I think it was, and yeah, the sim definitely does seem to be a little bit more stable, so thanks for that suggestion. So far so good. We're good, you know, as long as it stays stable for the future, we'll be happy. And I'm looking forward to streaming. I should be able to stream the next few days, so I should be able to stream tomorrow. I've got to take the car in, it's got to go and be looked at because there's a few scratches on it that needs repairing. So I've got to do that tomorrow, but I should be able to stream something in the morning. The missus is doing, she's got a baby shower Saturday, which is like, thank God she's going to be out of the house for all day, because like, you know, no way am I going to that bloody thing. So she's going to be out for most of the day Saturday, so that means I've got a weekend to myself because I can stream on the Saturday, and she's also going out shopping with her mother Sunday. So I might be able to do something Sunday if she's out long enough. So yeah, hopefully I can spend the next 4 days with some sort of stream. And either a normal flight like this, something a bit more interesting, just a sort of normal ops flight, possibly a 2-sector day, depends on how much time I get, maybe not tomorrow, and then I can always do something a bit more interesting, not necessarily failure stuff, but I don't know, challenge or anything else potentially again. So do you want to do the lowest with the approach from this? Yeah, do you know what I do actually, Christian? Yeah, what the RMPAR. I do want to look at that. That is one thing that I want to do. I want to do a video on that as well. I want to do a video on RMPAR because it's quite a complicated subject. Now, I kind of want to do a video on it, but I only really want to do a video about it if I sort of know what I'm talking about, and that's the problem. So I could do a video and I could just talk complete bollocks to everybody. So I need to do a bit more reading just to make sure I'm perfectly au fait with what I'm going to sort of regurgitate to you lot. But I do want to do that because it looks like a good... Yeah, that's the one, Danny, it's a free. It looks like an interesting approach. In fact, I might actually do that in a minute. I might have a bit of time. There's the Mrs. Yeah, she's not in for another hour. So I might go and have a look at that in a minute and just fly it, because on a lovely day it looks like an absolutely beautiful approach. As long as the aircraft's capable of doing it. Unfortunately, Phoenix have enabled the lateral deviation stuff to be in. So you could do an RMPAR as long as it's in the box. You could do that. So yeah, I might want to do a video on it. Well, no, if you were to bollocks, you wouldn't, but I would, and I'd sit there stumbling over myself, going, "Oh, do this, do that," and then I'd be going, "No, that's complete crap. Don't do that because that's not wrong. That's not right." So yeah, I do want to do something. I have written the old procedures about RMPAR as well. In real life, it's a bit more involved because not so much. I mean, it is for us to a degree. I mean, it's certainly a bit more involved in regards to failures. But there's something that we do. We check online websites for basically the how do you call it? The RAIN, or the availability of the satellites. That's what we need to look for to make sure that the satellites are there, and we're going to have coverage for the approach that we're doing at the time we're doing the approach. So there's a couple of things that we do in real life, which, to be honest, I could talk about. I could show it to you, but you're really going to want to do that in the sim. You're not going to go online and say, "Oh yeah, well, I've got satellites on this sort of time," because you're in the simulator. But it's a bit more involved. It's a bit more involved than a normal RMP approach, and so I did want to do something on that. And yeah, that Salzburg approach into 3-3 looks awesome. The only thing that's stopping me actually for that is I don't have scenery for Salzburg. I could go and buy some. I suppose I could buy some now, but it's only going to be about 10-15 quid. But yeah, that might be something else to do. So stay put, or stay tuned, should I say, and hopefully I shall see you all soon. And yeah, thanks for joining in, and have a good day. So see you later, guys. See you soon.